Hello everybody, my name is VG Pat, and today we are going to be continuing on with the Dwarf Fortress Let's Play. This episode today is going to be dedicated, if you cannot read above or below, penetrating aquifers. Now, this might sound like, a pretty basic thing having to deal with aquifers, because, they're so pervasive, they're everywhere. But, as I've said before, there are a major annoyance in this game, and they can be difficult to overcome to even some of the most skilled players. Today I'm going to show you two of the main methods to actually getting around them. The first one involves mining it out and then dropping something in it, which I'll show you how to do in here in just a second. And the second one, which is a lot easier but is a little bit more uncommon to be able to do, is when you're in a cold area, letting it freeze over. But I'll explain these two as we get to them. So the first one we're going to be showing off is the one that is more common but a little bit more difficult to do. Now things are going to be sped up just a little bit for your convenience, so try not to worry too much. Okay, we're going to get right into this. We're just going to embark. I've got something already prepared. Embark. Let's go. We're going to get on to this. Now, the main reason this one I'm about to show you works is it basically is like putting a cork in it. Like an aquifer is just let me explain what an aquifer is first, though. An aquifer is it's a layer of dirt or stone or anything in the ground that just spawns an infinite amount of water. When you dig into it, water spawns, and it can be very annoying because if you dig into it from below, it's gonna spawn. It's gonna just, dump water into your fort from above until it fills up to itself, which is awful. And if you hit it from above, you're not gonna be able to dig through it because your drawers are gonna be like, "Ew, water! I don't want to get in water. It's like so disgusting," and they won't dig through it. But this method is for penetrating from above. Penetrating from below is a little bit more tricky, and it is very situational, and I'm not going to be able to show that off. It's going to be something that you're going to have to figure out on your own. Not that it's difficult. Usually if you find out where an aquifer is, to dig through it from below, you're more than likely going to have dug through it from above at least once, so you should know where it is. So if you get rid of it, if you hit it from below, it's your own fault. Anyway, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to clear out a fairly large space. Second thing is we're going to go to D for designations, H for channel, and we're going to channel out. Actually, hold on. Yeah, that's enough. Now we're not going to channel out all of it. We're just going to channel out the edges of it, and we're going to leave a space. X remove designation, so that they'll dig that out like that. There we go. Now the next thing you do is you do down a level, D for designations, H for channel. Actually, hold on. Let's actually check real quick. Now I'm only doing this for demonstration. Reveal. D for designations. Let's see how far down. No, it's not too far down. So let's just undo that. Unreveal, just to check, make sure we're doing it in the right spot. Now normally you'd have found out where it is in your own map, but I'm just trying to save a little bit of time, get this out of the way fairly quickly. Now you're gonna dig down another level. You're just going to dig down in this square, and this time you're going to do the full square. Alright, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to want to make an escape route for your dwarves. So they can't get out right now, and you probably wanted to do this beforehand, but I'm a little bit, not that cautious. So we'll put it down several layers, and we'll make from this one their ability to get out, if they want. And they tried to dig down like immediately after that, and then they just found out they couldn't. So we're going to channel out another one, and I think this is going to be the last one we can. Yes, because now it's water. So we're going to dig this out. We're going to just dig out the center here. Now this is where it gets a little bit more complicated and a little bit more time consuming, but you're in an area with an aquifer, you have all the time in the world. Or all the water in the world, as the case may be. Now this is where, like I said, it gets a little bit more complicated. You're just going to keep channeling out layer, like line after line, until it all comes undone. So you pretty much channel out this whole bottom section. Now, if you've been paying attention, you'll understand what we've got. We've got that and that layer right there kind of floating, connected to right here. Now, if we channel that out, remove that, this layer and this layer are going to fall down into this hole. So there you go. We've got our cork. We've got our cork made. Now we just need to make it level down here so we can drop it. We can get through the aquifer. Not too difficult. Although it's a little bit more time consuming than I'm showing off. Like I said, I'm speeding it up a little bit for your convenience. Just gotta keep doing this. This is probably the hardest part, and even then it's not really that difficult, it's just annoying. And as you can see, the aquifer just continuously filling up the areas we're channeling out with water, which is annoying, and it's one of the reasons why we want to get through this. Now, the reason we made an escape route on this level is because if our dwarves got trapped down here, considering we're about to drop a big chunk of land down here, they'd probably die. And, you know, normally dwarves can be sacrificed. It's part of their duty. But for now, we want them to live. For now. Because I need them to show something off here in a second. Just to prove that this works. Okay, almost done. Almost done. One more. There we go. Now it's completely flat down here. Now you got the water. Then we're going to plug it up. Now that our dwarves are safe, we're going to just channel this out. Resume. Ah, that dumbass dwarf decided to sit on top of it, and that section of the cavern has collapsed. Now then, there we go. See? It fell in. It looks a little weird, mind you, but hey. Now, you are going to have a fairly big hole, and if you aren't an aesthetics junkie, you can modify this to whatever shape you want. There's some ravens over there. And that's pretty much, and he survived too, that's even better. So now we're going to go to B for build, C floor, put a birch log floor right there. Should take him just a second to get here, hopefully. Yeah, or did he already make it? He already made it, okay. I forgot I'm speeding it up. Now we're going to go to J, and we're just going to dig through it now. See? Now it looks like there's water on top of it, but that's just a thin layer of water because you got to remember the water had to go somewhere. We just dropped a big chunk of land down here. Some of that water, kind of got up here, but that does not mean that you cannot dig through it. You cannot be up here. You can. So we're gonna just channel through this a little bit. Now it looks like here that it's damp. It's not. Then we'll just dig through here, several layers. Struck limonite. See? Simple as that. We're through the aquifer. Now it's going to say it's a little damp in areas, but that's just it saying, because I mean, you've got a little bit of water there. See that? Like, it's just because when you dropped it down, water flew everywhere, and it's just it's gonna be like that. But I assure you, say like if we just dig this way, it would be perfectly fine. See? It's just the water is going to be there on the stairway. You can get rid of that in your own time, but there we go. We penetrated the aquifer. Now, if there are multiple layers of aquifers, which there can be, there 1, 2, you will have to do this multiple times. And this is a good and a bad thing is, you won't be able to get through it if you don't have very many soil layers. Because as we learned in my Let's Play, you can't drop shit you make yourself. I tried to make a fort and drop it to see how it worked. It didn't. So, if you don't have very many soil layers, this isn't going to work very well. Ergo, you're kind of screwed. Unless you can find an area on the map that the aquifer isn't pervasive. Like, let's see if there's one here. So D for this. Mine. See, look over there. The aquifer doesn't extend everywhere. Over in that area, there is no aquifer. So if we had known that, but which we didn't, wink wink nudge nudge, we could have just dug over there and not had to have done this. But this isn't a common occurrence, and it doesn't happen on every map you make. But this method here should work on in pretty much any one you have just a single layer of aquifer. Now we're going to get on to the second method, which is digging through in a cold environment. This can work in a cold environment, don't get me wrong, but it's a much easier and there's a much different method that you can use in those sort of environments that water freezes to use to your advantage. So we're going to move on to that in just one second. Be right back. Alright, now we're going to get on to the second method of doing this, and this involves being in a freezing environment. Now, you might be able to already figure out what we're going to do, but I need to explain it anyway, because this is the episode on Aquifers, so we're going to get into this right real quick. What this involves is just basically digging out an area, exposing it to the open air. It can't be underground, you can't have it covered up over the top, it has to be exposed upwards, letting the water freeze, and then digging through it like it was nothing else. Simple. Yes. Can it be complicated? Yes. Are we going to complicate it? Let's just say no. Let's just say no. Alright, so we're just going to go here. It's in a freezing area. I'm doing it in a freezing area just so I can show it off quickly. Now, you can do it in any area that has winter. Now, usually in a place that... Any environment temperate and above usually will have a winter that allows water to freeze, or at least a time where water will freeze. But... this isn't always the case, and see the water here is frozen, so we're just going to go right off that. Let's just reveal real quick, just to make sure. This one has an aquifer, and it is alright, right below us. Good. Now there was an aquifer over there too, but we don't really need that. So let's just unreveal. Now all we're going to do is we're going to chop down the trees over here. Like I said, still sped up a little bit for your convenience. And then watch them cut all that down. Now, this one actually has a lot of danger to it. And when I say that, I mean it. I'm not saying like, oh, this could be dangerous. No, this is going to be very dangerous for your dwarves. And it has been cause for me to actually make several takes on this because my dwarves are dumbasses. And I mean it. I've had dwarves just completely die in this, and I will explain how here in a second. So we're just going to go to channel, and we're just going to channel this out. Now we're not going to undo it or make it smaller or just do the outside edge, because remember, we have to expose this to the air. So we're going to have a nice big open area that we can use, so we can expose it to the air and have it, just to show off what it is in full. So we're going to channel out. Why am I doing it like that? Okay, we're gonna channel this whole area out. And I had it on the wrong thing. I'm a dumbass. Okay, channel that out. I don't know how many layers we're gonna have to go down, but we know that we know the aquifer's down there, so that's all that matters. Alright, should be the next level. There we go, see? But here's the danger. And the dwarves have already hit it. We'll just cancel this right real quick. It didn't matter anyway. The dwarves are a little bit stupid, and when they dig it out, they kind of go down in the water for a split second, and in the cold environments, it will freeze over above them, as it has been shown here. They went down in the water for just a split second after they dug it out, while the water was still water, and it killed them. Flat and simple. But I also brought a couple extra pickaxes just in case. And we're gonna just mine out a few areas, and the more areas that they do, the more likely this is to happen. And we did lose a dwarf. As you saw in Dwarf Therapist, we only had 6, and you start out with 7. So we know one or two of them died. Now we're gonna channel out this. Okay, we need to do a little bit more. Hold on. Channel out a little bit more. A little bit more. And maybe one more. Just for good measure. And we're also going to cut down a few more trees. I think we're going to need it. Now this area, like I said, is a little bit easier. It doesn't require as much digging work, but it will require a little bit of effort on this part right here. So we got all that to be cut down. Gonna have to make some of these guys woodcutters or carpenters because I took it off of them. Oops. Yeah, resume. Now we're going to channel this area out. Right here. There we go. And they found the one miner who was a dumbass and whatever. And ice. Yeah, there we go. Now what we're going to do at this point is we're going to go to B for buildings, C for like stuff like walls and floors, and we're going to make a wall down here. Kind of on the edges of, we're not going to make it out of ice, but we're going to make it out of chestnut log, birch logs, and we'll make another wall over here. What we're going to be doing is that if it does unfreeze, which if you're in an area that isn't always freezing, it will unfreeze, the water won't, you know, pour into this area. We'll resume real quick, and they're going to build those walls. And they're moving that one dead guy's shit out of the way. Dumbass. Why would he go into the water? I'll never know. Okay, now they got that made. B, C, wall. Fairly simple, all things considered, but it can be complicated. More logs. More logs. And we'll also have to make a up staircase right here out of birch logs. And then a down staircase so they can get down to it from right here with alder logs. I don't really care what it's made out of. And we'll also make a little path right here. We'll make it out of whatever logs are available. I made that a wall, didn't I? Ah, it's bad. But you get the basic idea. We're kind of closing it off at the top or around the edges so the water can't sweep in when it unfreezes. And we'll make a floor this time, not be a dumbass. Those, and that. And then they'll make that real quick, and then they'll have a little way to get down, and then they'll make the walls, and then we can keep on digging down. Now the ice, these little ice rocks, but you know, if you dig out normal stone, you'll be left with rocks, and it's the same way with ice. You're kind of left with what you got. Now we're all gonna have to B, C, and make a floor here where we're not going to be digging because it could unfreeze at another point, and we don't want that to happen. And I don't have enough fucking logs, damn it! Alright, but you get the idea. We've kind of already gotten through it. Now, just to prove it, we'll just go like J, downward staircase. There we go. Let's go I. I didn't make this big because, you know, it better be fucking getting onto that. I said J for downward staircase right there. Please and thank you. See, and they just dug through it. We're through the aquifer. Very simple. A little less complicated, all things considered, than the other method. But this one's also a fair bit more uncommon to use because you kind of have to either wait till winter or be in a freezing area to begin with, like I said, for the water to freeze up. Now the next episode we're going to be getting into is one that a few people, not as many as this one has, but a few people have been looking forward to, and that is the military. Not the American military, not the Brazilian military, but the military here and a snowstorm has come, but we're just going to ignore that. We're going to abandon Fortress. We're going to be getting into the military, what you can do with it, how you set them up with uniforms, how you set up barracks, stuff like that, simple stuff. That's going to require a fair bit of setup on my part, but still, we'll be getting into that next time. And we'll see you guys then. I hope this episode has been informative, and I thank everybody for watching, and I am amazed at the amount of views the tutorials and the Let's Plays for both the Fortress and Adventure mode have gotten. I thank everybody who's watched, and I will see you guys next time. Have fun, everybody.